Looking for a place to speak your truth? This podcast is on an endless pursuit to build through entrepreneurship, empowerment, and creativity. Through thought-provoking content and a fearlessness to dive into untouched topics with an undeniable dedication to highlighting others who are often overlooked. This is Deep Conversations.
Stay tuned for Deep Conversation Podcast.
Welcome to Deep Conversations Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Ryan Stewart, and today I'm here with my guy, man, Dre Steinberg, and he's the owner of Design to Conquer. And you know, this is special for me because I feel like that we vibe in the way of entrepreneurship, how we're moving in the same thing. So that I want you to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Dre. I am the creative director and owner of Design to Conquer. And Design to Conquer is initially an affirmation that I told myself after I lost my job during COVID. My background consists of graphic design and visual development. So I had been working in finance for a few years, working at places like JP Morgan Chase. I also worked at Bank of America. And I spent a lot of time developing my skill set geared towards PowerPoint presentations, coming up with pitch decks. And I worked hand in hand with the bankers to create these pitch decks and other kind of materials that you may or may not see as depending on what the project consists of. Once COVID hit, I ended up being let go. And on top of that, I had to deal with, the personal space and being isolated and not having that ability to be in contact with people that I would see on a regular. And me as a person, I'm an extroverted person. I love to interact with people. I love to see how things are going. So at that time, I was very withdrawn, and it played a lot on my confidence. And so Design to Conquer became a phrase that I said, I am designed to conquer. And it reassured me in the capabilities that I had as a graphic designer, as a visual artist. And it pushed me to want to develop my own creative studio. So I went out, I learned what I needed to learn as far as the fundamentals in business. I also did a lot of research into my business structure and forming my LLC, and then I opened my website up and started trying to attract clients to basically provide a service that I felt like people like me, not just being African American or Black, but people like me in the entrepreneurial space needed. Somebody that would be on their team and help them develop their business as a partner versus just as a service provider. I feel like in this era or in this realm that we're in as entrepreneurs, a lot of the time people are just trying to sell you a service and not necessarily trying to help you grow or see your vision through. So that was one of the things that I was passionate about, is not just being able to create a well thought out website or captivate and an appealing brand. I also want to be able to bounce ideas off of you, help you come up with new strategies to then bring in more clients. I like to build relationships, not necessarily provide a one-shot deal service. And so that's ultimately how I ended up here on your show today, was just being committed to my idea and having that lead me down the path towards success.
I find it interesting as I was listening to you too. You kind of like everybody, when COVID hit, it was either two things that happened to you. It kind of just threw you off completely. You know what I mean? Or you almost kind of had to start at the bottom, or it made you kind of tap into your creative mind. You know what I mean? And I find that a lot of people, I mean, really, we didn't have nothing else to do. You know what I mean? You were stuck in the house. So I think it's interesting too that your how that started. It was almost like you tapped into something that probably probably you never really paid attention to as you was working. You know what I mean? It's like now it's like I'm designed to conquer. You know, there's nothing else. You know what I mean? It's like it's I'm in this space. I'm stuck in this. And you said it messed up you. It dealt with your confidence. So it's like to be able to tell yourself that all the time is, you know, that's for everybody. That's why I think to me, I think it's so unique because it is everybody's designed to conquer. You know what I'm saying? It's something that everybody can relate to. I mean, I'm sure, you know, you've thought about you know, having to own your own clothing line because I think that's everybody would jump onto that. You know what I mean? Because it taps in. It's almost like a spiritual thing. You know, it taps into the spiritual sense too of, you know, I am designed to conquer. I'm somebody who created me, designed me to be like this. You know what I mean? So I just think I think it's, you know, it's important. And then you're talking about how your brand is built to build relationships. I notice a lot of times that a lot of people they want it they want it quick instead of just playing a long game. You know what I mean? And in doing that, you're going to build those relationships. I think that's why also it you've had to you've had the opportunity to do some of the things that you've been able to do, you know, doing the things with the kids on the side, you know, all those things with the web design work, being able to teach them. But in your eyes, what do you think? What would you say sets Design to Conquer apart from other design and branding agencies?
I'm more so just piggybacking off of that. That we don't just set you up to complete a job. We work with our clients to help them continue to elevate their message. We come in and we work as a team to define and develop a strategy that works best for you and to attract the clientele that you need and that you deserve. We spend a lot of time developing language, like how does your business translate to its potential customers? Are you using the right words? Are you using the right, you know, metaphors or terminology? Sometimes, for example, I deal with a medical imaging company. And one of the things we typically debate about is whether or not the people that need the service actually know what the service is, right? Like, so there's, I can't even think of the examples of the terms, but as a common person that may need to go and get this procedure done, what we developed is a way to articulate that in a general term so that people don't get flustered or overwhelmed when they approach the website and feel like, you know, like, yeah, my lower back hurts versus saying, all right, well, I have a dislocated this, that, and the third, and I need to see a person in regards to this specific situation. People only know the bare minimum, and sometimes we have to figure out that language barrier between customer and producer so that people understand and feel confident and trust the information that they see and don't feel like, all right, I just read a whole bunch of words, but I don't know whether or not this service is what I need, or this if I need to, you know, see this doctor in regards to this thing because they just threw a whole bunch of big words at me. So that's just a small example of how we typically try to find that middle ground, where as opposed to other service providers may just do what you ask, like, hey, look, copy and paste this. This is all the information, and I need it set up on this website on this page. You ask for it, they provide you that, and then there's a disconnect because they're not interested in the future. They're not interested in the development of your company. They're just interested in knocking out the assignment so that they can continue on and bring in new clients and do the same thing with them. Versus, you know, someone that's going to say, hey, look, as a person that may get injured and may need your service, I looked over this and I don't even know, you know, how this would affect me, or whether or not this service is something that I need. You may
Mm-hmm.
need to dial back some of the language. You can have this in a different location where it highlights. We could come up with an encyclopedia, for example, so that somebody can know what the correlation to their discomfort is and know the medical term. So that
Mm-hmm.
not only can they express themselves in the future to a new medical practitioner, they also have the confidence and understand, like, hey, look, I know exactly what the problem is. It's called this. And that's because I ended up going to this website for the thing and they broke it down to me in this encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm.
So primarily stuff like that. Like, so that's a real life example of how Design to Conquer more or less is based towards being a team player and creating that commitment and that collaborative feel between our clients.
Now I gotta you were talking about building, I guess, like a business pitch. You know what I mean, earlier, and some, with some entrepreneurs, what are maybe a few things you can probably you would say that would be helpful to people who building their business and wants to go that I guess you need a pitch, if you want to deal with sponsors and things and other different companies. But what are some things that that they can some tips they can use,
As
to
far as as
build.
far as I'm coming up with a pitch, I would say the best thing that you would want to do is ask yes questions.
Hmm.
So if you lead with a yes question, you're already building trust. So you start off by saying, do you have discomfort in your back? Yes. Is it uncomfortable when you lay on your side? Yes. Is da 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 da? Yes. You may need this, that, and the third. Or if you're, pitching something or a service that you provide. Another client that we work with is a gourmet, a non-traditional gourmet bakery. So they'll say, do you want, unique cookie for your next birthday party? And somebody will say, yes. Are you interested in this, that, and the third for, supporting a woman-owned, black-owned business in your local community? Yes. And then, so I have the perfect thing for you. Insert the name of the brand, and what I provide is this, that, and the third. And so I would definitely say start off with yes based questions.
That's interesting. See, I all this stuff is always, it always, all these interviews always help me too, because these are some things that I would never think of, and maybe some other people would never think of too. Because sometimes when you're trying to create something, sometimes you always go into it overthinking. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And instead of it's just that's that's simple. It's really what you're doing. You're talking to somebody. You know what I mean? That's the one thing you got to remember is just I'm talking to somebody. So when you're
Right.
writing down your pitch or creating it, is have a conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that was good. And for you, um, how does Design to Conquer impact the local community? And then what initiatives have you introduced to foster community engagement?
So outside of providing business owners and entrepreneurs their content and their story, I also created initiatives like the Wearable Art Program, which is geared towards helping the young people in the community with identifying themselves through fashion and design. Growing up, I personally wasn't able to get all of the latest fashionable things, and that deals with another confidence booster or decreaser, especially nowadays where kids are wearing high end quality clothes just to go to school, right? And wearing super expensive sneakers and wanting to wear $1,000 jeans.
Mhm.
Um, Especially on top of that, with social media playing a large part in it, sometimes your peers aren't actually genuinely doing something, but it's being perceived as such. So with the wearable art program, we focus on providing a way for the young, the youth to be able to express themselves creatively with fashion. So showing them how to design logos for apparel, teaching them the different materials needed to, cut and sew your own custom garments. We also bring in industry leaders in the fashion world, from stylists to local brand owners, as well as shoppers, people that actually buy the garments and place them in the location, to give people the overall experience. Like, hey, maybe the graphic aspect of it isn't your strong suit, but you are persuasive and you may be good in sales, so you'll be able to work still directly with a fashion house, but you'll be in a different department or a different realm. And it's in conjunction with the STEM program. So these are what I'm teaching the students, usable traits that they can then apply to different jobs. They'll get background training basically with fundamental logo development. They'll learn color theory so that they'll understand how color harmony works, color hierarchy, and as well as typography. So they'll learn the differences between serif, sans serif, and it creates this ecosystem that bounces the creativity of the child, as well as the entrepreneurial spirit of them being able to say, this is what I made, and now I can provide that same material, that same feeling, that same emotion to other people's through these garments. So I'm super excited. I'm super emotional, like positively emotional about the work that we've been doing with the wearable art program and how it's been able to push the children into a better direction as far as understanding everybody's style is different. We don't all have to look alike. We don't all have to dress alike. Something that may be cool for your friends, you don't have to like it because they like it. You can express yourself through what you genuinely like, and it gives them that space to be honest with themselves and also learn about themselves and learn the things that make them unique.
And I think it goes back to what we were talking about before, tapping into something. I think this generation, unfortunately, a lot of stuff has been taken away from them. A lot of the boys clubs, a lot of these things, these art programs and stuff that they don't have, that things that they can tap into their creative spirit. And the things that you're doing is, like you said, the positive emotions, because you can see as you're working with them, you can see that creativity like coming alive. I mean, being able to design a logo for something, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Like, when you think about that for kids, that's something that I don't, for me growing up, that I didn't have access to stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It was like you go to school, you had, etiquette classes and stuff like that. But to be able to tap into stuff like that, I think that what you're doing is you're expanding their minds way further than what they ever could think could be possible. I know you realize it, but I sometimes hearing it from somebody else, this brand of yours is going to touch so many other people, because it's something that's really unique. And I told you off camera, told you here on camera, that the Design to Conquer name that's going to check nothing but positively. You know what I mean? It's an affirmation that's going to be, you got you got something. You got something. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to, I mean, that's what I do on the show. I highlight people, but as we're talking, it's like as you're talking and explaining these things, it's my mind's going, because it's like I'm envisioning stuff. I'm like, man, this could be like this, and this could be like, but that's just through conversation. So having those kids actually interact and able to do it themselves, man, you building confidence in these kids that and it's going to be something that they're going to always remember, because we always come across somebody that, you know, touched our life positively. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As we were growing up, and that's you're that person for so many different kids. You know what I'm saying? It's so you know, I'm giving you your props for that, man, because that's dope.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
This generation needs that. It's
Yeah.
something that it's something that they need. And you know, talking about it, I'm gonna ask you, you know, now that we on here, what has been one of your most rewarding projects at Design and Conquer, and why?
Um, so all of the projects that we work on have their own unique purpose and connection. I would say that one of the more recent projects we took on would have to be hmm, well, right now, work as far as client facing, a big project that we worked on was just something from our branding called Brand on Demand, where we work with entrepreneurs who may have already had a business or have a little bit more experience and a little bit more capital to start up something, where we
Mm-hmm.
work with them to, in 30 days, develop a fully functional business. So you say, hey, look, I want to sit down and I have this great idea that I know I can make into something, and I have the means to do X, Y, and Z. I just need assistance with coming up with the website, and I need this, and I like, so Brand on Demand compiles all of the services that we provide into one um, easy to follow process. So in 30 days, we work together to highlight and develop your business plan. We come up with ways to obtain your LLC if you need that service provided as well. Then from there, we start the design process and brand process of coming up with the logo concepts, the colors, the typography. Then we translate that to business cards, brochures if needed, menus if needed. Then we transition from there and take it into the web space and develop the website. We develop the e-commerce if needed. We develop the newsletters. And so you basically focus on what you need to focus on as the business owner versus taking on the responsibilities of being the business owner as well as the creative. So we work hand in hand to make sure that by the end of the 30 days, you'll have a fully functional website that attracts your clients, that also has a newsletter associated with it or emailing, so that you have a professional, you know, info at your email.com. We make sure that your website is attractive and it allows people to basically funnel. They'll come onto the website whether or not you're selling something, whether that's a product, whether that's information, and then they'll be prompted or geared towards leaving their email address so that you can then further that relationship with them by sending them emails. Um, and then start taking that, all of the design process, you're going to be working with us to create those ideas. You're going to be in the approval process, giving us the thumbs up or thumbs down in regards to what fonts you want, the colors you want to invoke, and ultimately, like I said, like that process in and of itself, building with somebody for 30 days, you know, you basically feel like you really are a part of the company at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
that was something that I was deeply appreciative of being a part of. The experience was eye opening in the sense of how unique and creative people are when it comes to what they are passionate about doing, right? Like, so people, you, everybody needs something, and you'll be surprised at how many different ways the same product, the same service, the same idea can be spun to be something unique and be developed so that the story doesn't sound redundant or the story doesn't sound typical. It's inviting. So my brand on demand project that we just finished up, well, we actually finished a little bit before today. So it didn't start right in April, but it lasted into a little bit into May. So we wrapped that up. I was super excited about that. Yeah, so that one was a lot of ups and downs, but the outcome was amazing. I'm super excited about the partner that we now have and that connection that I built so that I can continue to help elevate this business.
No, that's again, like I said, man, it's like so unique. I mean, you're giving not just not just the kids and stuff, but you're giving everybody a space to be able to use their creativity. And again, you know going back to when you got laid off at your job, you were forced to be creative. You know what I mean?
Right.
And in doing that, you tapped in correctly, because some people they had ideas, but it was just, I think that stuff was just, sometimes it could be just fast. I'm
Right.
tapping in just so I can get it, so I can get out of this and I can, do whatever. But you tapped into something that was always needed to be tapped into, and now it's blossoming and it's flourishing. And now 4 years later, you know what I mean, the opportunities that you've been afforded, and the people that you've helped, and now you'll be able to network outside of places that you probably not even expecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm speaking that into this. It's gonna happen for you. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be one to be cheering for you, because just conversating with you off camera, you these are things that are well deserved. You know what I mean? And be looking for that back pay too on some of that stuff, on some of those jobs that you took that was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this off of the strength. You know what I mean? Just to help people out. But people see that, and down the line, you're gonna be getting that back pay for that. So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, so be ready for that too. But also, are there any resources or pieces of knowledge that you wish you had when you started out?
Um, I had a real proactive approach to things. And just like any entrepreneur that really wants to see his or her vision come to life, I put a lot of time and effort into just learning. I went to the library a lot, and I didn't start off by going to the library. So that would be something that I would say is definitely important. I spent a lot of time wasted trying to Google things and trying to self-teach myself. And I would say to save more time and have that eureka moment faster would have been to just be like, duh, go to the library. And so I would definitely say utilize the people in the library, because they are there for your help. There are people that actually genuinely not just love books, but helping people as well, and passing on that knowledge and doing research. So there's people that exist that just love to answer questions and find out how something came to be or why something doesn't exist, and so forth and so forth. So the people at the library are definitely um, honorary members of Design to Conquer community, because of the work and the effort that they put into teach and spread knowledge. And so, yeah, I would definitely, tell myself, hey, just go straight to the library. You spend a lot of time on Google when the library, there's people in there that are physical Googles.
Yeah, yep, and that's again, that's interesting too, because me growing up, I'm gonna just speak for myself. I wasn't a big reader. You know what I mean? I just in my mind, I'm like, I don't have time. I want to go outside. I want to do, what I want to do with my friends or whatever. But as I've got older and things have slowed down, the library and books, those are like my best friends, man. It's like, cause I mean, just to retain so much. You can retain so much knowledge, like you were saying. It's ain't nothing better than that, man. Just to continue to learn and continue to keep growing, and like you said with the library things, you is there one book in particular that you would say that you read that kind of helped you out a lot, or opened your eyes to some things that helped you along the way?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of books. But I would definitely say that Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence Others
Mm-hmm.
is definitely a book some if not everyone should have, because it shows you how to become acceptable to people. Like, so it sometimes we have an idea we're the type of people that, just come off the hip and explain things, and if you with it, you with it. If you're not, then screw you, or blah blah blah. And that book kind of not even kind of it puts into practice the idea of how to hear somebody else's point of view first, how to avoid conflict and confrontation, how to be able to intentively and purposefully listen, and actually pay attention to what's going on, and ultimately garner a relationship with somebody, so that ultimately you can get them, or get something done that you want completed. So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely say Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence people or others. I can't remember. It's one of them.
Now, you know, I've been saying it all all show, but I'm impressed by your brand. You know what I mean? It's you can tell that you put a lot of work into it, and you're very passionate about it. Um, and I think it could work anywhere you go. So, do you have any plans on expanding outside of you know New York now, and just to, and even if you have New York as your headquarters, do you plan on having different, I guess you can call them chapters, in different states where you can do some other things?
Something like that would be amazing. I haven't had the bandwidth, I guess, to see that happening, but creating a chapter and creating something that can uh, help the people outside of New York would definitely be something that I'm totally 100% for. I'm actually in the process of trying to create some more online courses and trainings, so that way it doesn't limit the accessibility only to people in New York. But a lot of the client, I mean, I have a fair amount of people that are from New York, but I also do work with out of state people. I have a client that's based in Maryland. I have another client that's based out in California. So there are, like the services that I provide aren't exclusively to New York, but there are some that, my reach is only but so far. But absolutely, I would definitely be more than willing and excited to venture out of New York and provide the services that I have here to other places.
Yeah, I think because me being in Delaware again, we've talked a few times. You know what I mean? So I think it's something it's something that I think would be so necessary for the kids down here. Just to have a class just to start. You know what I mean? Just to so them for them to hear you. You know what I mean? Because I think when you speak, you speak with a lot of conviction, and you mean what you say. So with kids, and to be able to again tap into that for them. You know what I mean? It's because I'm gonna tell you down here in Delaware, man. I'm not laughing, man, but some of these kids, man, they need some help, man. And it's like
Yeah.
I think your brand is a lifestyle for everybody. You know what I mean? And it's only thing it's I had somebody tell me with my brand a long time ago. They said just be patient because it's going to take people a while to catch up to your vision.
Right.
But once they do, they're going to be, they're going to be hooked. And that's what I see in, that's what I see in yours. I think you got something, man. I mean, you know that, you know what I mean? But
Appreciate it.
yeah, it's dope. And I hope, me and you can continue to network and stay connected, and we can, I can, and we help each other out, and we help just, build each other up, because I think there's so many people who need something like this, just to help their kids out. You know what I mean? And not even their kids, but themselves
Absolutely.
to tap into something that they may not think that they can do. You know what I'm saying? So, but for you, I got one more question for you. Before that, can you give the people your social media? So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can find me at designtoconquer.com. That's the website. We have all our services from web development, branding. We have a program called LLC Ready, which is geared towards helping New York-based entrepreneurs obtain their LLC. And yeah, just go ahead and visit designtoconquer.com. You can find us at Design to Conquer LLC on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and any other social platform that may pop up.
I got one more question for you. What's one thing that you've learned about yourself, mentally and spiritually?
Um, Mentally, I learned that I've grown as far as my communication skills and not being as blunt as I could tend to be. So I've learned how, especially like with that book I mentioned, I've learned how to control my tone and not give off too much emotion in what I say, so that it isn't misinterpreted or perceived as something that it may not be. So I take my time when I speak and make sure that what I'm saying is being translated in a manner that is receptive. Like
Mm-hmm.
people can hear what I'm saying and understand it. Um, and then just spiritually as well, as just, the affirmation, I am designed to conquer, and keeping up with positive and motivational thoughts, making sure that I stay in my own peace and not overexert myself to the point of exhaustion where, I feel like, what's the point? So it is more so balancing out that internal compass and saying, hey, today my 100% isn't going to look like my 100% that I did yesterday, but I'm giving it my all nonetheless, and I can't compete with yesterday. I can only do what I can do today, and then do what I can tomorrow.
Yeah, it's man, you need to you need to you need to come up with you might need to have a conference, man, and just help a whole bunch help a whole bunch of people, like, because I just again, like you said, how you learn how to speak, and not sound so, not sound so blunt. It's a lot of people that even on the podcast, that I've talked to on the podcast, that you can tell that, I mean, we all have things that we go through, you know what I mean? And
Right.
but sometimes we don't know how to express it, like you've been expressing it sometimes. And sometimes that can turn into anger, sometimes it could be frustration and stuff like that. But again, you have something that is that's dope, man. And I've been telling you all show, and I'm gonna keep telling you after the show and every time I see you, because I think it's something that you need to know, that what you're doing is necessary. You know what I mean? And I don't think, another thing with our with my podcast is, I'm not excluding nobody, but if we can't if we can't clean up our culture and fix our culture, and be able to highlight the people with us, instead of always having a mean mug when we see each other, and instead
Right.
of seeing us and just being smiling and being happy to see each other, I think that's something that we need to start doing better at. So that's that's who I've always been. So it's like, when I hear things like this and something that you're doing, the brand that you got, it makes me excited because I'm like, he's winning. You know what I'm saying? There's never been no hate, especially when it comes to our people. It's like, I'm like,
Right.
I want to see you win, and I'm always going to cheer for you. Now that I know you, it's going to be even more. So, I want you to know that I'm proud of you, and I'm gonna need you to I'm gonna need you to email me. You got my email. I'm gonna need you to email
Yeah.
me that that pitch, the pitch program you got, because I need to I need to get that a little bit with mine, because that's one thing. When I asked you that question, that was partly me wanting to know some stuff, because I'll be overthinking sometimes. You know what I mean? Instead of just sitting back and just saying, you know what, let me just. That's the one thing that I've been struggling with, is coming up with a business pitch, because I'm like, I need to start reaching out to some sponsors. I need to start reaching out to different
Right.
companies that we can connect with. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I'll send you all of the resources I have available. I know I have something, and then I also went to a seminar or something, and they gave me some PDF or a
mhm.
Word doc, and I'll send it over to you for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So Dre, I can't thank you enough, man, for just blessing my podcast, man. You need to be heard about a whole lot more. You know what I mean? I know that you have been, but I want it to be not even just in the United States. You know what I mean? A Design to Conquer is for everybody on walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, just continue to do what you do, and we're gonna be hearing a lot more from you, especially down here. Like, we talked off camera. So, you know,
Yes, I'm tapped in. I'm tuned in. I'm ready.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna be communicating with you, and then hopefully they'll be communicating with you. So continue to keep doing what you're doing, man, and yeah, continue to be you. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
All right, I appreciate that. I'm gonna definitely do that, and I look forward to continuing to work with you and fostering more relationships and getting the message
Mhm.
out there and helping as many people as possible.
You're on YouTube, baby.